When Oreanna Myers and Brian Baumgartner got together, he already had 2 boys from a previous marriage, and she had 1 boy from a previous relationship. They would go on to have 2 boys of their own. They moved into a 5-bedroom, 2-story home that had been built in 1888, located at 611 Flint's Creek Road in Williamsburg, West Virginia. After the couple's car was left useless due to an accident in November of 2020, Brian needed to find alternative transportation to work. His option was to stay at his father's place until they could find another vehicle, allowing him to continue going to and from work. However, Brian's absence from the house for varied periods of time over the course of a 10-day period would soon become a major point of contention for the couple. After he left the house on Sunday, December the 6th, after leaving some groceries for the family, the messages seemed to intensify. "You'll have nothing to come back to but the corpse. No one cares, why should I?" Oreanna's text had said. "Money will come and go. Once I go, there's no replacing me. I beg and cry for help, but never get it. It's my mental health that needs tending to. Help me. I do not care anymore." The school bus security video from Tuesday, December the 8th, 2020, shows Oreanna picking up the children at the bus stop at the end of the school day. She did not, however, bring her 2 youngest children on this occasion, as she normally did. One of the boys is seen asking her, "What is the blood on your face?" She responds, "I drew on myself," prompting her 4-year-old son Kian to say, "You drew on yourself?" They then make their way back down the football field long driveway. An hour later, emergency dispatch received a 911 call from a neighbor reporting a house fire on Flint's Creek Road. Just before 4 p.m., the firefighters arrived on the scene to find the house engulfed in flames. The home was totally burned to the ground when the Greenbrier County Sheriff's Office and West Virginia State Police arrived. Oreanna's body was discovered at a picnic table about 40 minutes later with a gunshot wound to the head and a .410 single-shot shotgun near her. The red line drawn across the bridge of her nose beneath her eyes and running ear to ear, as seen earlier at the bus stop, was still visible. Raven described how she had received a message from Brian's cousin on the day of the tragedy, telling her not to panic, but sending a picture of a fire at the house. "I called Brian, and he was on his way home. I jumped in my car and left my daughter for Setter," Raven said. "The whole way there, I was expecting to see all 5 children and Oreanna outside. The farm was packed with people, but nobody could tell me anything. It was like, check the barn, and I was waiting for them to come out of the woods. My brother was telling me, don't do anything stupid, because he knew that I would jump in and try to go get my kids. But there was nothing to jump into. There was a chimney standing in flames." Raven revealed that it was hours before she received confirmation that her 2 sons were dead. 4 of the children were found dead inside the home that same day, but the 5th child's body was only recovered from the debris 4 days later. It was determined Oreanna had shot all 5 children in the head with a .410 single-shot shotgun before setting the 2-story home on fire and then fatally shooting herself. Oreanna texted her husband the day of the shootings, saying she left something for him in their vehicle. A letter to Brian that was found on the floorboard of the family vehicle that had been disabled in a previous accident. She had also left behind 3 handwritten notes, including phone numbers to reach relatives, found in a Ziploc bag that was duct taped to the passenger side mirror. Also recovered from the vehicle was a glass jar with a crystal and a cloth decorated with a spiral symbol. There was a title on each note. "To whomever finds this first. To whomever finds this first, you'll need to call Brian Baumgartner. He is husband and father. You'll need to call Raven, for she is the mother of Sean and Riley. If someone would please call my mother, tell her I'm sorry. This is no one's fault but my own. My demons won over me, and there's no going back. So sorry I wasn't strong enough. Thank you. XOXO OAM. My confession. I had shot all of the boys in the head. I had set the house on fire. I had shot myself in the head. I'm sorry. Mental health is serious. I hope one day someone will help others like me. Mental health is not to joke about or taken lightly. When someone begs, pleads, cries out for help, please help them. You just might save a life or more lives. Thank you. OAM. Will. The will was chosen not to be released, as it was personal for the family, but did include what appeared to be a bloody fingerprint next to the initials of OAM. XOXO. I'm so sorry, Brian. I was not strong enough for you or this family. My head is so expletive. I'm sorry for my evil crime. I was not strong enough to fight these demons. Snap, crunch, boom. So depressed. Heart numb. Soul completely shattered. I am sorry I failed you. I am sorry I failed our handsome boys. I am so sorry I was not strong enough. OAM. There was also a bloody fingerprint next to her initials. Raven, Brian's ex-wife, shared 50-50 custody with Brian and said that she had made small talk with Oreanna as she dropped her boys off to stay. She shot all 5 kids in the head and set the house on fire and went outside and shot herself, Raven said. They described she used a single-action shotgun. You have to break it down and reload it after every single shot. How can you do that 5 times to 5 children? In these letters, she's apologized, making it all about mental illness, Raven added, referring to suicide notes left by Oreanna. But she did it 5 times, wrote 4 different letters. You set this up. This wasn't just some mental illness. It was planned. Raven said she met Brian when she was 13, and he was her childhood sweetheart, who she married at 19. When they split up, Brian met Oreanna shortly afterward in 2016 and told Raven that she would be a better mom. I busted my butt. I went back to school to do college online. I paid off the trailer. I got my car by myself. I got this house by myself. I did everything I could as a single mother, said Raven, who just recently moved into a house in which she had hoped to share her first Christmas with her 3 children. I wanted to give them everything I never had, said the young mother, who herself grew up in foster care. I aged out of the state care. Those boys saved me. They made me into a better person. I've never told someone I loved them with my whole being, except for my kids. It's waking up and thinking, I gotta get breakfast ready for the kids, just to realize you only have one, she added of their sudden loss. It's expecting to find them in their rooms and they're not there. It's turning around the corner to see them raiding the fridge and they're not there. I can't even bring myself to go back up there where they died because it's expecting them to get into my car. Raven said that her 3-year-old daughter, Kari, now keeps asking for her older brothers and that they are both in therapy. The first few days she kept asking where they were at, she said. I keep trying to say with God or in heaven, but she didn't understand that concept yet. I have to explain. They can't come back, but you can talk to them. She also previously spoke about her grief, saying she felt her soul had been ripped out. How could you do that to children? They had full lives ahead of them. I felt she was of complete sound mind. She didn't write me a letter. She was selfish, and she wanted to hurt people. This was planned, and I can't get my boys back. She murdered my babies. Raven branded Oreanna evil and added, It's hard. It really is hard. I probably wouldn't be here if I didn't have my daughter. I'd always told my kids, Mommy's always here. Mommy always comes back. But Mommy couldn't stop this. Oreanna was allegedly into occult practices and drew a bizarre red mark across her face before the massacre. Raven said her ex-husband Brian was also aware of Oreanna's bizarre obsession with witchcraft and spiritualism, adding she had put stuff together. She had a glass jar together that she had for Brian with some of her crystals, and she collected dead butterflies. She had them in jars. Her Instagram, with the handle at glowinggoddess520, featured dozens of spirituals, memes, and photographs of jars filled with dead insects. One reads, "Honestly, go ahead and be kooky and get into weird mystical expletive or whatever." Asked if she thinks Oreanna's interest in rituals played a part in the tragedy, Raven replied, "Maybe." In the suicide note, she kept referring to how her demons won. She was always talking about the phases of the moon and these rituals and tarot cards and different books and witchy things. She was like, "Oh, this moon is in this phase. This is a ritual for new beginnings. I'm going to go and run naked in the fields." A per use of Myers' Instagram account at glowinggoddess520 reveals that the mother actively participated in rituals related to witchcraft and spiritualism. On November 25th, just under 3 weeks before the murder-suicide, Myers posted a photo of insect jars filled with dead butterflies, moths, mushrooms, rocks, herbs, feathers, and earthly things. "Made me some insect jars. This is a thing, or just an Oreanna thing. Laugh out loud, XOXOX, she said in the post. Myers made a series of posts about a powerful manifestation day on November the 11th, even posting a photo of the ritual she performed that night at 11:11 p.m. "Embracing the 11:11, 11:11, she said in the post. Magic, love, the unknown." She also shared a photo of a fairy figurine that she had, saying on Instagram, "Fairies and flowers are my magical thing." While it is unknown whether witchcraft had anything to do with the murder-suicide on December the 8th, one of Oreanna's notes does make mention of her demons winning over her. From December the 8th to December the 24th, Brian went from married to widow to in a relationship. He is said to have found love again just weeks after the tragedy with a high school friend. Raven also claimed her ex Brian already has a new girlfriend, and the couple have been seen around town just weeks after the tragedy. "I went to school with her. She's always been around," Raven alleged. People were very confused, but he'd rather not be alone than take care of his responsibilities. He previously wrote on Facebook he was going through a truly dark time after the family tragedy. Brian wrote, "I just wanted to say sorry and thank you to everyone reaching out to me and messaging me. I can't get back to all of you, but in a truly dark time, I feel like I could fall and all of you guys would catch me. It gives me something. I don't know what. Maybe it be hope or strength or grit. I don't know. All I know is I have something, and that's not nothing." Brian Baumgartner has stayed out of the public eye after his children's deaths. Investigators with the State Fire Marshal's office said there were too much damage to the old house to tell how the fire began. Cops said Myers had no documented history of mental health problems, and that Child Protective Services was never in contact with Baumgartner or Myers. A memorial service was held on December the 17th. If you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK 8255 or text STRENGTH to the crisis text line at 741-741 or go to suicidepreventionlifeline.org.